I am scooched over.
Oh, you watch the Selena Gomez thing?
There's a Selena Gomez thing?
Yeah, on Apple TV.
No, then.
Okay, I watched it. I'll talk about it. It's fine. We watched it last night. We'll talk about it.
The fact that I didn't know there was a Selena Gomez thing
tells you you didn't watch it.
I didn't watch it.
That makes sense. All right, let's do this.
All right. And we're live on YouTube with the Media Boat Podcast, your weekly source for news on movies, TV, music, and video games. Not necessarily in that order. My name is Mike. His name is Matt.
My name is Matt. His name is Mike. Thank you for joining us. It is November, specifically November the 5th, 2022.
Yeah, I'm glad you remembered.
I did remember.
That today was the 5th of November.
Yes, I did.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us. We have another great show for you today. Hopefully, everything that you need to know about this week and more. So let's get rolling right into it.
Missed it just by one. This is episode 356.
356.
All could be 355 on the 5th.
Well, yeah.
Oh, well.
So much for that.
But we don't skip weeks.
That boat sailed. Speaking of boats, welcome to the Media Boat Podcast. We don't have a name for our fans, but we should. We'll get there later.
Anyway,
take it away and let's begin the show.
Yeah, we're going to get right into it. We're going to start, I will do every section.
Yes.
With the music section.
Yes, we do. Always.
Yes. And we start the music section with the Billboard. And we start the Billboard with the Hot 100.
Okay.
And we start the Hot 100 with Taylor Swift and Taylor Swift and Taylor Swift and Taylor Swift.
Well.
And Taylor Swift.
Well. Yes.
And Taylor Swift.
I guess you.
And Taylor Swift.
Yeah. So
yes,
you're letting the cat out of the bag early, but yes, the big news in the Billboard chart this week is that Taylor Swift has set another record, has done another first, has broken people's minds once again, because she is the first artist in history, the history of the Billboard Hot 100 chart, to have an entry in all 10 top 10 spots. Yes, all of these are, of course, off of her new album, Midnights. And that does mean she has another number one single. I believe it's her 7th or 8th. I forget what it is. But yes, let's count down the top 5 Taylor Swift hits.
Starting at number 5, Midnight Rain by Taylor Swift.
Yes.
Number 4, Snow on the Beach by Lana Del Rey.
No.
Taylor Swift featuring Lana Del Rey. At 3, Maroon.
Yeah.
At 2, Lavender Haze.
Yes.
And your number 1 song by Taylor Swift off of the album Midnight is Anti-Hero.
So yeah, the one other interesting wrinkle about this is that besides the single Anti-Hero being the number 1 single, which makes sense, there was a video to promote it. It makes sense that there was some momentum behind it. The rest of these are actually in chronological order of the album.
Yes.
So people clearly, this is just a result of people listening to the entire album on Spotify from the top.
Yes.
And so, yeah.
Thank you, Adele, for removing the shuffle button.
Right. Yes. You can thank Adele for that one. But yeah, an interesting event to happen, and definitely another milestone for Taylor's career. And congratulations, I guess. But that's not all of the milestones for Taylor this week.
No, because if she's going to have number 1 songs in top 10, if we go to the Billboard 200, she's going to have the number 1 album.
Absolutely.
As Midnight is the number 1 album by Taylor Swift.
As I mentioned last week, it was a shoo-in. It's already the best-selling album of the year. And it probably will remain that, as I don't imagine anything that comes out in December will dethrone it. So, unless it's herself. Because there is a rumor saying that we'll get to the tour stuff, but there's a rumor saying that there's no way she does this tour without
another Taylor's version?
Let's say getting her songs back to do the tour. So we'll get there. But yes, it is interesting that, it's not surprising that this is your number 1 record.
Way down at number 2, though, is It's Only Me by Lil Baby. Coming in at 3, Un Verano Sin Ti by Bad Bunny. Coming in at 4, Dangerous, double album with Morgan Wallen.
It Won't Die.
And also Won't Die. Yeah. Number 5, the hits.
Yeah, well, the highlights.
The highlights by The Weeknd.
That one I don't mind. But yeah, just Morgan Wallen. Come on, just go away. It's haunting us.
Just teasing us out at this point.
Yeah.
If you didn't like any of those albums, which you obviously listen to Taylor Swift Midnight, because
we're just going to continue listening to Midnight. But if you don't, in between breaks listening to Midnight,
We have new releases,
Yes.
including The Work by Gold Panda, Red Car, Les Adorables Etoiles
That was an attempt at French, yes.
by Red Car.
Red Car is, I guess, a new name for, what is that band? I forget. It's like a side project of a band, except it's not really a side project because it's just the same band. I don't know why.
Okay.
Anyways.
And for all you parents out there, and Adam, Only the Strong Survive by the boss himself,
Yep.
Bruce Springsteen.
The boss, he's back.
Yep. So everyone on the state of New Jersey will be listening to that.
Yep.
And everyone else will be listening to Midnights Again.
But that's not all of our Taylor Swift news this week.
No, but wait, there's more, because Taylor
Yes.
Swift announced Tuesday morning.
No, she was not at a Tuesday morning
Uh,
when she made this announcement. I don't
could've
think.
been.
No, she was on Good Morning America.
She was on Good Morning
She
America.
could not have been at a Tuesday morning.
Her long-rumored return to the road with an outing dubbed The Eras Tour, scheduled to hit U.S. stadiums beginning in March of 2023 and running into August, where she will then sing August, I assume.
Oh, I hope. I absolutely hope so.
With international dates set to be revealed later.
Yes.
The support acts are very much all about the sisterhood, with a host of acts that Swift has championed in the past, including Paramore, Haim, Phoebe Bridgers, Biba Doobie, Girl in Red, Muna, Gail, Gracie Abrams, and Owen.
Yes, Owen being the one non-woman in this lineup.
Yep. The tour starts on March 18th, 2023, in what is apparently a sweet spot for a Swift in Glendale, Arizona, the same place as her last outing, pre-pandemic Reputation tour back in 2018. Do note that there were also more dates added to this list.
I was going to mention that, yes. About a couple days later, she was like, hey, yeah, demand's high, so we know. So we're going to add a bunch of dates. So there's a third date in several of the bigger cities, and including LA. So yeah, if you want Taylor Swift tickets and you are a Ticketmaster subscriber.
If you're a Capital One member.
Well, I'll get there because that's a different wrinkle in this thing. So yes, she's doing the fan-verified pre-purchase queue right now until the 9th, I believe, or the 11th. I forget which day.
I think tickets go on sale on the 9th.
Well, anyway, there's a period of time that we're in right now that you can go and do the pre-register and get yourself in the line, kind of like PS5. And it doesn't matter what you do when you do it; everybody has the same chance. They're just doing randomization.
Yes.
And then on the 14th, if you do that, you may get an email that'll say, "Hey, this is when you can buy tickets to the shows that you specified you wanted to go to."
Yep. Taylor Swift will just pop up in your email saying, "Hey, it's me."
Yes. Hi. The other thing is, as you mentioned, this is sponsored by Capital One. And if you've ever gone to a Ticketmaster show that was sponsored by Capital One, you know the drill. There is a special Capital One card holder presale. But the wrinkle here is that, you just have to use your Capital One card when you when you sign up, essentially. And that automatically enrolls you into that presale. You don't have to do anything else.
No, you have to purchase with your Capital One card. I mean.
You also have to do that. But by saying because it's presale, you're not purchasing anything yet.
Yes.
You just have to have that card. I used to have a Capital One card. I canceled it last month. I do not have a Capital One card anymore. So I just missed that by a little bit, Taylor. I couldn't find the card anyway, so it's fine.
I have the card. I have a Capital One card.
Good
I signed
for
up
you.
with it.
I'm in the Chase family, so I missed that opportunity.
It's okay. You can be more than one families.
So the other thing is you get a maximum of 6 tickets that you can purchase with this ability. So good luck, I guess, if you want Taylor Swift tickets, because you're going to need it. It's going to be bedlam out there. It's cool that she's doing this. Just a note about the openers. She, as this story says, these are a lot of names that she's mentioned in the past. She's, of course, collaborated with Phoebe Bridgers before and Haim. She has used Biba Doobie songs in her TikTok stories before, or Instagram stories as well. She's mentioned Girl in Red. So it makes sense that this is the vibe that she wants. Interesting that she's chosen Paramore for the first date.
and no
only.
other dates.
Yes. I guess that they're on their own little busy tour right now.
Yeah.
So I would imagine that that's probably just the best schedule that they could line up. And yeah, I know, and it's good news for me. I like a lot of these artists. The only ones I'm not as familiar with are Gail, Gracie Abrams, and Owen, but that's just me. But yeah, so exciting news, and yeah, it'll be interesting to see how she does it. Yeah, the other thing that I wanted to mention,
it's called the Eras Tour.
It's called the Eras Tour, and the poster.
The poster has all the album artwork from her previous albums,
or does it
behind her,
or does it? And that's the question. As Taylor Swift fans know, she is currently doing re-records of her Big Machine records.
Taylor's versions.
Yeah, the Taylor versions. And some of them are out. Some of them are not, though. And the interesting thing here is that she can't officially play songs that she has not done official re-releases for. That is contractually a no-no for her. So if she's going to do a real Eras tour, if she's going to do this, it seems to imply that she's going to fast track the rest of these re-records, which seems weird because we don't have that much time till this tour starts in March. So is
she really has 3 more albums?
She has. So she has only done 2.
Yeah, she's done Red.
Yeah.
And she's done Fearless.
Yes, she's done Fearless and she's done Red. At this point, she needs to do Self-Titled. She needs to do Speak Now. She needs to do 1989. And she needs to do Reputation. Those are 4 records left.
And you don't think she's going to do a month each record?
That's the theory. And I'm like, that would be insane. Like, can you imagine if every month till March we got a new re-record?
Does it really have to be up until March or just up until the day of the tour? Because if she releases an album like the Friday before, or the Friday before the tour happens on Saturday, does that still technically count?
Yeah, I don't know. Also, the question is she going to put as much work into these as she did in the past? For example,
or has the work already been done?
Is it going to be like 20? Well, yeah, I'm sure she's done some of this, but like, it's just interesting that like she put so much like there was so much planning, it seemed, that went into the Fearless and Red re-records. And if the time, like if she's going to do all of these now, like I feel like it's gonna have to be fewer of those from the vault tracks and less hype going towards them than there was going into the first 2. Like I just can't imagine how she does it.
Yeah, if there's only a way that like she could like spend a year not on tour, just like trapped in a studio recording all these songs.
Right.
For like an entire year, maybe 2 years even.
Yeah, I mean, yes, theoretically she could have already done the work. You're right. We've already heard re-records off of the 1989 Taylor's version. Wildest Dreams, and I think Wildest Dreams is the only one so far.
Yes.
Wildest Dreams, Taylor's version is already out. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, it's weird calling it the Eras Tour and not being able to play every era of Taylor Swift.
So it has to be there has to be something going on, especially with all of the Speak Now hints that she gave in the Bejeweled video.
Does she need to have all the albums released, or just do what The Weeknd did and put out the highlights?
Just do it.
Here's the album of the hits that I'm going to be playing at my tour. Just call it Taylor Swift Eras.
That's certainly possible.
I just have the hits.
I don't think she does that, though. I think it's possible. I think that would be a good move, considering that there's a lot of songs probably on the Self-Titled and Speak Now that she probably doesn't want to re-record.
Right.
Better for Revenge comes to mind, or better than Revenge comes to mind. It has a little bit of baggage to it. So yeah, I can imagine that would be an approach for sure if she just did like a greatest hits kind of thing of that era. I don't know. We'll see. It just would be weird for her to do that, considering what she did with Fearless and Red. Like, she's set a precedent for herself now that I feel like she has to meet.
Yeah, but you can release the full albums later for the stuff that you're never going to play on tour.
Maybe. I don't know.
Later.
I don't know.
Just to have the full album.
That being said, I would love some deep cuts of the tour. That's the thing. And she knows the fans know everything. Like, there's a difference between The Weeknd fan and a Taylor Swift fan, is what I'm saying. Like, the Taylor Swift fan is going to want her to play like Long Live off of Speak Now, or they're going to want her to play Tied Together with a Smile off the debut. Like, they're going to demand the small like hits that they're their favorites. They want the like the tracks that were released
They
on
want the
movie
10-hour.
soundtracks.
They want 10-hour tours.
They want Today Was a Fairy Tale. Like they want like the song she recorded for Twilight with the Civil Wars. Like they want the deepest cuts is what they want. So yeah, we'll see.
Are you speaking for all fans or just for yourself?
I'm speaking for myself a lot, but also the fans, you know.
Yes, you gotta do it for the fans.
So yeah, we'll have more information, I'm sure, as time goes on, because yeah, anything could happen with Taylor Swift is I think what we've learned.
Including hitting the top 10
Yes.
on Billboard.
10.
All 10. That, of course, beats the previous record set by Drake,
Yes.
who had 9 during his release of the double album.
Right.
But obviously, no one listened to that entire double album.
Right. So, yes, people are listening to Midnights. That is proven.
Yes.
All right, let's move on. Speaking of Drake.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of Drake, he is no stranger to stirring up conversation around his lyrics. As such, after the release of Her Loss, a collaboration album with 21 Savage,
which I'm going to say right now, I did not listen to.
The rapper raised eyebrows with bars that seemingly referenced Megan Thee Stallion and her alleged assault by Canadian rapper Tory Lanez. Recapping, just so we're caught up here. Back in 2020, Tory Lanez allegedly shot Megan Thee Stallion in the feet after she attempted to walk away from a car during an argument. Megan recounted the details of the incident in April of 2022 with Gayle King on CBS Morning, which produced medical photos of Megan's injuries, along with a report that referenced gunshot wounds and bullet fragments in her feet. In the song Circo Loco, Drake raps, quote, this is Drake quoting.
Yes, this is Drake.
This bitch lie about getting shot, but she's still a stallion. Seemingly a double entendre that references cosmetic injections and Megan's alleged assault. Megan then responded to the lyrics on Twitter, writing, quote, stop using my shooting for clout, bitch ass. Since when the fuck is it cool to joke about women getting shot? You, especially rap.
You
are lame. Ready to boycott bout shoes and clothes, but dogpile on a black woman when she says one of y'all homeboys abused her?
So yeah, Megan's right. It's a little bit of a weird double standard for Drake, and it's unnecessary, especially as it's been pretty well established that this happened, and that we thought the conversation and the debate was over, and that it's pretty indisputable evidence.
So it's like Drake going to bat then for Tory Lanez?
I guess so. It's weird. Like I feel like one of Drake's many problems is that he does things like this.
Many problems.
Yes. His fucking problems, you could say.
Yes.
One of his many problems is that he finds himself in these situations where he's trying to look tougher than he is, and we all see through it immediately. He's trying to talk like he's like, oh yeah, I'm a tough guy. I'm going to defend my friend. Allegedly, I don't know if they're friends. And that talk shit on this person. Apparently, that's not the only lyric on this record that also talks shit about Megan. Okay. Somebody else has said that there's some sort of thing about referencing I listened to lyric that's like, oh, I listened to your record and after track 1 I stopped or something like that, referring to Megan's record. And it's just like, why bother, Drake? Why are you doing this? Who is this meant to impress? Megan Thee Stallion is a very talented rapper. Mm-hmm. And she's made a name for herself at this point, and she's established herself in the industry. And I just don't understand why Drake is wasting his time trying to bring her down. Why bother?
Didn't we ask this about Drake several times when he ever releases albums? That he always tries to bring people down in his albums?
It's just weird. It's just why bother?
I feel we're in the same cyclical transition for Drake.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's
he's just stirring the beef everywhere.
Yeah, and 21 Savage, I don't know if he had part in this decision-making process, whether he was egging Drake on here in this. I did not, again, listen to this record, so I can't tell you if the whole thing has that vibe. But I would not be surprised,
because it's the 21 Savage record, right?
It's a collab, so it's evenly distributed between the two of them. from what I understand.
So Drake needs 21 Savage on an album, where meanwhile Taylor Swift just needs herself.
Yeah, pretty much.
Got it.
It sounds about right where we're at in 2022. All right. Well, that's it for that story then.
All right.
Once we talk about that, the better.
I mean, we'll talk about it when Megan Thee Stallion comes back with a new single.
Yeah, I want a diss track.
That Drake.
Yeah, I want a Drake diss track. Let's do it. Let's bring it in. Let's get that 90s rap beef vibes going. All right.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay. Can I come up with a quick line?
Yeah, go for it. What do we got? Now you're on the spot.
That Drake's called me a goose. Look at me, such a gander.
It's not bad. It's not bad. I like the wordplay there. All right. Did we listen to anything? No. Pretty much.
We contributed to the Taylor Swift fund.
Yeah, more Midnights is pretty much all I've listened to. And some smaller stuff, but that's okay. Anyways, let's move on.
Let's get right into video games. And we start with new releases.
We do. Big week.
Yep. Including Football Manager 2023. Not that football.
No.
This is soccer.
Yes.
Yes, this is soccer football.
Soccer football.
Yeah.
Everyone's favorite sport.
Yes, where you can be the manager.
Yes.
Not the player.
Of your own FC.
Yes.
As they call it.
And that's out for everything. That's a wide release.
Yeah.
Also,
everything with PS4?
Yeah.
Weirdly enough.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, it's weird.
Also out on everything, your big release. Sonic Frontiers.
Yes. The Sonic cycle is continuing.
Yep. This is the open world question mark.
Yes,
Sonic
this is the open world game. Who the hell knows if this is any good?
We also have Atari 50, the anniversary celebration.
Yep.
For PS4, PS5, Xbox Series X, and the Switch.
Yeah, we have two weird ones here. Football Manager, everything but PS4. Atari 50, everything but Xbox One.
Yes.
Like, why are these lines being drawn?
I know.
Yeah, whatever.
Deals.
Yeah, deals.
There's also Tactics Ogre Reborn for the PS4, PS5, Switch, and PC. Sorry, Xbox owners.
But then everything got out of the way because it's Media Boat game. No.
Yes, it is.
I'm probably not going to play this, so I don't think it
I
can
will
be
force
Media
you to
Boat
play
Podcast Game of the Year. I am not spending $70 to play that.
No, you can play it here. I'm spending $70+ probably.
Well,
if I can find it.
We'll get there, yes. God of War Ragnarok.
Boy, the game.
Boy 2.
Boy 2.
The sequel to Boy for PlayStation 4 and PS5.
Yes.
The God of War Ragnarok is out. Early impressions are out there if you want to hear. Seems like it's pretty good. It seems like it's one of those.
Early reviews are 10 out of 10s, 93, 94 on Metacritic.
So yeah, you will have your own take on God of War next week.
Yes.
So next week's show, we will do a deep dive for God of War. But for now, just know it's out in the world very, very soon.
Yep. Shocking, not shocker. I'm going through the story mode of God of War 2018 right now.
Okay.
Just mainlining main story missions, not doing all the side quests.
Yeah. Just as you do.
Just getting myself familiar with
Warmed
it.
Up.
Go through it. New Game Plus, because I had everything like stacked up. I don't think I ever did New Game Plus.
No, I don't know.
Like I might have tried to do like on like God mode and then just like
I still need to finish Horizon, so I'm way back.
I know you need to do that.
You don't have a disc copy of that, right? You have it digitally.
I think I got it digitally.
Right, because it's in the bundle, right?
No. I think I just got that digitally so I can play it day one or 9 p.m.
I don't know when I'm going to finish Horizon, but I would like to finish Horizon. I just don't know how I'm going to do it.
Right.
They need to put it to their service. They're not going to.
They're not going to
because they're going to wait a full calendar year before they do that. Probably, but whatever. Anyways,
let's put it like the premium.
Yeah, I'm not paying for premium. I barely touched extra since Stray came out.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm like, what am I paying for?
Because it was like $10.
Yeah, I guess.
That's why.
Like, I don't know. I might downgrade because they're not putting enough on that service to entice me to stay.
Oh yeah, I'm probably downgrading too, but that's not till like April.
But we'll get there.
There
was actually a news story. I should mention this while we're on it.
They lost subscribers.
Did not report this week.
Yeah, they lost subscribers.
Sony did say that they're starting to lose subscribers for PlayStation Plus. However, the overall money spent on PlayStation Plus has gone up.
Okay.
So it's a weird combo thing where it's like, order of operations.
Since we're talking about PlayStation.
But yeah. All right. Anyway, the other PlayStation story this week.
Yeah, the other PlayStation story this week is that Sony announced that PlayStation VR2 has a release date and a price point.
Yes.
Coming in February, the new VR headset will officially launch on the 22nd.
Yes.
February 22nd,
Yeah, February
2023. The price point will be more than a PlayStation.
More than a PlayStation 5.
$550 US.
Yes.
Or $600 in the EU.
600 euros and
euros.
529 pounds.
Because of weird inflation prices.
I don't know how this thing works. Yeah.
Because they're not part of the EU anymore.
Yeah.
Thanks, Brexit. So for that price point, for $550, you will get the PSVR2 headset, the PSVR2 Sense controllers, and stereo headphones.
Yeah.
And this does make the PlayStation VR2 more expensive than the console itself,
right?
Which currently retails at $500 price point.
Yeah.
In a post to the PlayStation blog, Sony's VP of Peripherals called the February date an initial launch phase.
Peripheral.
Yes, it's intentional.
So a couple things about this. That's an expensive headset. However, if you compare it to the Quest 2, it's fairly similarly priced.
Isn't the Quest 2 like $500?
Yeah, it's about $500. So if you're thinking about it in VR terms, it's about what it should cost. And I'm sure that Sony had to crank the price up in order to make money on this thing because VR is an expensive technology. Because imagine you have to have the resolution of a television screen on a tiny screen, then times 2 in the headset, plus sound, plus the controllers. And Sony's DualSense controllers already cost themselves like $70. So yeah, it adds up really quickly. Also note here, this bundles with the Horizons VR game, which is by itself probably like $40 to $50.
Right, but I think that one is on its... That's a game on the tracks, though.
Well, we actually don't know. That we don't know a whole lot about that game yet. Anyway, so yeah, it's an expensive package, but I guess for people who want that VR experience are probably also likely the people who are willing to spend that money. So it does make sense. It's just such a strange thing that a peripheral for a console is more than the console itself. I don't think that's ever happened before.
It's an add-on. It's an addition.
Yeah. So yeah, but yeah, that's going to be out there in February, which is way sooner than I think anybody thought this was going to happen. Sony's really fast-tracked this thing, and it makes me wonder if they really think that it's going to be different this time. The Sony PlayStation VR 1 did okay, but I don't know what they're doing here. They must really be banking on this.
I'm trying to think of why would you put it in February?
Yeah, it's a weird.
Because it's after the holiday season, people are going to be buying stuff.
I wonder if it has to do with Q1, coming up very soon in March. I want to say they want to get this thing on their books before the end of the quarter. So this was one of the later dates that they could have put it out
on the 22nd.
Yeah,
because February doesn't have a whole lot of
not a whole lot going on.
Because 22nd is literally the last Wednesday of release day. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, say what you will. I think it's interesting that what they're willing to risk on this thing, and it does seem like they put a lot of work and technology into it. Are there games? Is always the question for VR.
Will it get delayed? Games? That's another big question.
Yeah, that's a possibility as well. Especially if they find themselves in a position where it's harder to build these things than they anticipated. Because that's the other thing, is that they have to dedicate some of their factory floor now to this on top of PlayStation 5 manufacturing, which is already behind. So, I mean, it's gotten better over the last few months, but I don't know if it's going to get that much better to clear out the runway for a bunch of VR stuff. So we'll see. I don't know. It's a weird boutique thing at a boutique price. And so it'll be really interesting to me how this does.
Yep.
But that's VR2.
VR2. All right. Let's move into our next game story then.
A little fun update for one of your favorite games of the year.
Yes. Definitely going to be on one of my end of the year lists.
This is going to be on your list for sure.
Yes. Marvel will add player v player multiplayer.
Finally, it's here.
So remember what I said when you were talking about
the one thing that's missing.
The one thing that's missing is PvP.
Well, here it is.
Yes, a spokesperson. Yeah, someone poke you with news.
They poke the screen because that's how you play it.
Yep. For developer Second Dinner,
great name,
told the Washington Post that an update to the superhero card battler will allow players to play against their friends this calendar year. But also, given that there isn't much of 2022 left, it suggests that it may be weeks away.
Yeah, this is happening soon. Probably sometime in early December is my guess. It's perfect for the holidays, right?
Yes.
You're going to have people over and you're going to be like, all right, let's sit down and let's play some Snap.
Have you played this Pokemon Snap? Yes, I have.
Pokemon
What?
Snap?
Yes.
Marvel
Snap.
I mean, also, if you play Pokemon Snap, it's pretty fun.
Yes.
But also,
Marvel
Snap.
You play Marvel Snap? Yes.
Face to face.
Okay, let me play this with you. And then just have a big, push in the holiday season, especially around Thanksgiving.
It's good.
Just be like, hey, commercial, play Marvel Snap with your kids during Thanksgiving.
Yeah. I mean, we don't need to tell you that we've played more Marvel Snap since last week, because of course we have.
Is this where I hide my shame of how much levels I have?
Yeah, you have way too many levels. Even more embarrassing than the last week. But yeah,
4 digits.
So this is just
4 digits.
This is just yet another thing about why this game is as good as it is, and it's just going to continue getting support like that. Then that's wonderful news. And so, yeah, this is just another benefit for it. So, yeah, if you haven't tried it yet and you like card games, it's a no-brainer. Just download Marvel Snap. It's fun. And, yeah, you'll have a good time with it. Any other thoughts? Any other games that we've played?
I mean, I've been playing Marvel Snap and God of War. So
I'm playing Marvel Snap, and that's yeah, no.
You dropped the Dreamlight Valley?
Yeah, I slowed down on it. I think I talked
week.
about it last week that I was slowing down on it.
Yes.
I think that it's just a little grindy now. The new update, the new stuff in the update is just very grindy. And I'm like, all right, this is a little too much stuff. I like when that game gives you a lot of things that you can do at once. And at a certain point, that stops happening. And that's where I'm at with it right now. So I don't know. I might return to it. And also, just they need to add more clothes. Add more clothes to it. That's why I want.
Can't you design your own clothes and logos?
You can't design every single kind of clothing.
Oh,
like there are certain things that you can't design yet, and so I can't. As much as I'd love to, I can't. Anyways, so yeah, I'm waiting on that one. And there's a couple other games that I want to check out before the year's end, but money for I have to wait until I have some money to spend, so I'm gonna hold on that.
Expensive.
Yeah, it turns out. All right, let's move on to the second half of the show. And we always start the second half with television, and we always start television with the Sports Corner, as you're pointing at the sports behind us.
Yes.
And of course, the big headline in sports is still the World Series. The Astros currently lead the Phillies 3-2 in the World Series. Game 6 is tonight, so we will see whether the Phillies can hold on to the series and extend to a Game 7. They're back in Houston, though, so the odds are lower than they were back when they were at home. But hell, Houston also got a no-hitter in the Phillies, so who knows at this point.
Combined technical.
Yes, I know. So yeah,
2 asterisks there, 2 caveats.
It's been a fun series, though. It's been very back and forth. You have a game where it was all Phillies offense followed by all Houston pitching, and so yeah, it's wild how it can just oscillate back and forth forever. So it'll be really interesting to see if the Phillies can get something working tonight. All those weirdos on the Phillies team. Yeah, the other thing that's come out of this World Series is I've become very endeared to the Phillies as a team. What a weird bunch of guys they have.
Yes, they took 2 Angels players.
Yeah, also, but not even besides that. Even it's just like they're just a funny ramshackle bunch of dudes, and they're all weird in their own ways, and it's just fascinating.
Are you referring to the wet hair?
I mean, yeah, the wet guys are especially. Yeah, I've been obsessed with the stories about Brandon Marsh. Did you read that article that
It's weird.
I texted? It was fascinating.
Someone wrote that.
Someone wrote that. I love that. Like that. Just he's just just immediately against country music. Just Brandon Marsh. He does not listen to country music. Don't ask him about country music, and he doesn't wash his hair. What a fascinating guy. Anyway, so yeah, I hope that the Phillies can pull this off. It would be amazing. What a year for Philadelphia as we segue into the NFL, as the Eagles remain the only unbeaten team in the league with 8 wins, 0 losses.
Yep, they played on Thursday, which means they're safe for another week. Their last unbeaten team. Everyone else has at least 1 win.
Yes.
So this is the last 0 in the record columns for this year.
So if the Eagles can keep this going, it'll be quite a season.
Which they won't, but they can hope.
Okay, well, we'll see. I don't know. It seems like the NFL is full of some really weird,
this
bad
always
teams.
happens, though.
This is a bad year.
This always happens, though, is that, the teams will get hot. They'll get to, 11-0, and then all of a sudden they'll drop one.
Right.
or they'll tie, or something
Yeah,
weird will happen
something
to
weird
where,
will
like,
happen.
after 10 games, things start getting very funky, and then they start losing.
Well, Funky Watch 2022 then, because we'll watch to see if anything gets especially funky.
It was so funky that the 7-0 Eagles were going up against the 1-6 Texans on
Right.
Thursday Night Football.
Yes.
And the score was tied at 14 at halftime.
Shouldn't happen.
No, it's supposed to be a blowout.
Another reason why football, I've just lost all taste for it, because I feel like it's just chaos now.
It is chaos.
Anything can happen, and like that's so weird to me. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't like it.
All right.
Don't like the
Speaking
vibes.
of chaos,
Speaking of chaos, the NASCAR finals are happening in Phoenix. Your notable people involved include
your final four.
Yes, Joey Logano, Chase Elliott, Christopher Bell, and Media Boat favorite Ross Watermelon Boss Chastain.
Yes.
And this is when we need to talk about NASCAR 2005. Yes, I know about this because, of course, it crossed over with video game Twitter.
Yes.
And so, of course, I found out about this. So explain to our listeners why NASCAR 2005, a GameCube game, is suddenly relevant in NASCAR.
Well, this is news to me.
This is news to you?
I didn't see this. I didn't see this on Twitter.
So this is the weird move that a driver performed where they
that's
went
what you're
against
talking
the wall at the
That's
end of
what
a
you're
race
talking about.
to take the lead.
Okay, I thought you were talking about the actual game.
No,
So
why I bring up NASCAR 2005
because it's such a
quote
very thing.
is that that's where this person learned this.
So Ross Chastain.
Oh, that is Ross Chastain. Okay, I was
Yes.
hoping it was.
Ross Watermelon Boss Chastain, in the penultimate race this past weekend, was in 10th, but needed to at least pass Chase Elliott to have a better seeded qualifying for the final four. So on the very last lap of the race, he guns it, possibly breaking speed limits.
Probably.
Like even NASCAR speed limits.
Yeah.
Like rams himself up against the wall.
Yes.
Pedal to the metal, pedal to the floor, guns it, just whips himself around the track
and it works.
Barely edge out Chase Elliott to get into the finals.
So apparently in interviews after the race, he says that he learned this move playing NASCAR 2005 for the GameCube, and he wanted to see if it would work in real life. Turns out it does.
Turns out, one, it does. Two, he definitely scratched up the side of his car, but then again, it was like the last race.
Right, so he had nothing to lose at that point.
Yeah.
So a wrinkle about this, other drivers and other teams seem to hate this.
Oh, yes.
They say that it opens the floodgates for other idiots to do some similar moves and ruin races potentially.
Well, it's not that it's ruining races. It's that if you do that not on the last, like if you do that on the last lap and then you wreck, they automatically bring out the yellow flag. And if that yellow flag comes out before the checker flag, then it goes into overtime.
And no one wants that.
And no one wants it. Everyone hates overtime, especially with people who are in the back who have no stakes, no chance, no stakes,
driving.
But keep driving and then purposely crash in order to keep it going.
Right.
That's why they hate it.
So, yeah, it's obviously one of those things where it's like, it's funny the first time and then it gets grating when it happens again. Yeah, so no one should ever do it again.
No, it's hilarious because you see him just like whip around like everyone else is in slow motion. He's just whipping around.
So it's a funny thing and it's a weird thing I wanted to comment on. I'm shocked that you didn't know the video game connection there.
No, because I just saw it live.
That's what he said. No. That's what he said afterwards. Was
because after that, I switched it back to football.
Oh, okay. But yeah, I guess they confirmed that. Yes,
I didn't watch it
was a
interview.
Video game inspiration.
We were just watching it live, and it's like, oh my god, look at Ross go!
So it just makes us like this guy more than we already did. Like wow, what a guy!
And he's the man we will be rooting for to win the championship because should he win the NASCAR finals, one, it'll be his first year as like the number one driver. Two, he will smash a watermelon.
He will
at the Phoenix Raceway.
He will do it. He will do it. All right. Anyways, anything else in sports this
week?
Also,
I think he would have capped it too, because I think he won in Daytona this year at the beginning of the year, and then he would have won the finals.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, a kind of end cap there.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, what else in sports before we move
on? Hockey, basketball continues. Lakers finally got their first win.
Hey, what do you know? Finally.
And we do not have time to get into the whole Kyrie Irving thing.
We really do not. Just know that he's not great, and the league apparently is going to give him a talking to.
The league is going to suspend him 5 games.
Yeah.
And then fine him $500,000 to be dispersed to various charities and local organizations.
Yeah. So, yeah. That's basically what you need to know. We'll have more news if it comes out.
Yep.
Let's move on, though, for now, out of sports and into television news. And we start television news with casting bits. Casting bits. One of our favorite things to do here on the Media Boat Podcast.
Yeah.
Starting with Witcher news. Witcher on Netflix.
Watch?
This is our Witcher watch. Liam Hemsworth will become the Witcher, the titular Witcher in The Witcher, replacing Henry Cavill in season 4 of The Witcher. Just as a note, season 3, which has yet to premiere, will still have Henry Cavill as the lead role. Liam will not enter the series until the completion of season 3. So starting in season 4. No official word about why this happened, but all signs seem to point to Henry Cavill doing more DC work with Superman. And so it's not surprising that maybe there was a scheduling conflict considering that he was going to do movies again.
Seeing as season 3 is yet to come out, I'm wondering if they're going to have something where something happens to Henry Cavill's face at the end of season 3, just to explain why he now looks like Liam Hemsworth.
It's like, wow, you look completely different now. Anyway, next up, the Penguin series over at HBO Max, which of course is a spinoff of the Batman film.
Yep, that's starring Colin Farrell.
Just added Kristen Milotti to its cast.
Hey, that's a name I haven't seen in a long time.
Yeah, she was just Palm Springs, of course,
Yes.
and recently in what was she recently in? I forget.
Palm Springs.
Palm Springs,
of course.
Just Palm Springs. Anyway, you'll recognize. She's one of those you'll recognize when you see her.
Yes, she was the mother.
Next up, Severance season 3, of course, ahead of season 2, which is yet to premiere.
Well, I think that is actually.
Oh, this is supposed to be season 2? Okay.
Yes.
Never mind. Season 2 of Severance will add Gwendolyn Christie, John Noble, and Merritt Weaver. By the way, I finally got around to watching the pilot for Severance.
Yes.
I'm finally starting Severance. Yeah, I'm intrigued. It's not exactly my kind of show. And so there's moments where I'm like, I don't know if I want to watch the rest of this. But it does enough to set up the mystery by the end of the episode where you're like, okay, I kind of do want answers to these questions.
Yes.
I do want to know what's going on. And I do also like the commentary about like work-life balance it's doing. Like it's very on the nose, but I get what it's saying. Also, where I'm at in my life right now, it is weirdly accurate. And so I'm like, okay, all right. Maybe I want to bear this out. So I don't know. I may or may not continue watching that.
Or you could watch The Bear on FX.
No, I'm not watching it.
Okay.
But yeah, I want to finish it before we talk about TV lists at the end of the year. Because I'm sure it will be on yours.
Yes.
So,
it's got a really good ending. Just strong ending.
I'm curious about where it goes. So I may stay tuned. Also, I don't know the lead actress in that show. I don't know where she's from, but she's hot. I did not anticipate that. I was like, who is this girl? I don't know what she's been in, but I was like kind of distracted through the whole episode. I was like, I really like this lady. I don't know where she came from. Who is this lady?
Just because she's like a redhead? Or?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm into her the whole vibe.
I think it's Britt Lauer?
Yeah, I've never heard of her before. But yeah, I'm digging her thing.
High maintenance, casual.
Yeah, I don't know.
Man Seeking Woman, you know, that show that made you watch.
I could stand that show. Anyways, let's move on. Out of Apple TV Plus to Disney
she was
Plus.
in NBA 2K21.
Wow, she did a voice in there. All right, anyway. So this seems to be her first like super mainstream thing.
Future Man. Do you count Future Man?
No, I don't. All right.
Okay.
Anyways, from Netflix from Apple TV Plus, we go to Disney Plus, where Agatha, Coven of Chaos, the upcoming spinoff series starring Catherine Hahn, that is off of WandaVision, their character Agatha. Aubrey Plaza was planned to join the cast there.
Yeah, that Aubrey Plaza.
Yeah, she's everywhere lately. I don't know if it's just me. She's popping up everywhere.
Well, we'll talk about what she's up to in the White Lotus.
Yeah. Joining. This is a good move. I feel like if you're going to catch a witchy person in your witchy show, Aubrey Plaza is a good get. This makes sense. Next up.
Yes, look forward to her just like commenting on how everything is not right and weird.
Yeah, that makes sense. Theo James is set to lead Guy Ritchie's Netflix TV series, The Gentleman.
Based off his film, The Gentleman.
I feel like you have to do this move. The Gentleman. So yeah, there's your casting.
I was like this, The Gentleman.
The Gentleman.
Yes.
So there's your casting news. So yeah, people all over all over the place, just spread out, just like little seeds.
Yep. Okay, the story is really going to start with just Liam Hemsworth being replaced.
That's the biggest news.
That's the big one. But it's like, oh, all the other people got casted everywhere else.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to our second story here, and this is for all the moms out there.
No, it's not for the moms.
No, it's not.
Well, one, it is, but also because it's the holiday season coming up. And if you want some feel-good stories, if you want everything to be as predictable as possible, I mean, as predictable as possible.
Yes, there is a quite a cult following for these things. So yeah, I guess this is a good move. Hallmark Channel, you love it. We love it. No, we don't.
It has one of our not our favorite shows, but a listener's wife's favorite shows on it.
Yes, as we found out by dissing it on our show.
Yes, where the heart is.
Yes, where the heart is. Anyways, well, Peacock is in the news this week.
Or when calls the heart.
Sure. Some sort of combination of when and calls and heart.
Yes, when heart calls that thing.
When heart calls, you answer. Anyways, Peacock has announced that it has entered an agreement with Hallmark Media to stream live and on-demand programming from its 3 channels, including Hallmark Channel, Hallmark Movies and Mysteries, and Hallmark Drama, as part of a first-of-its-kind linear plus video-on-demand deal. Beginning on Wednesday, November 2nd, you can find the new hub. Yeah, today, or 2-3 days ago.
As of listening to this.
You can find a new Hallmark hub on Peacock's homepage. It will feature live simulcasts of all 3 channels, with current season programming available live and on demand the next day, as well as a robust library of movies within the Hallmark library, including signature holiday favorites. The Hallmark content that Peacock subscribers can access on demand includes live and next day access to series such as fan favorite When Calls the Heart, as you mentioned, and new series coming in 2023, Ride and The Way Home. The Hallmark branded hub will include a VOD collection with new premiere movies and dozens of Hallmark movie classics. I feel like I'm repeating myself 3 times with the story. Why is it saying the same thing?
They want to make sure that you know that Hallmark is on Peacock.
This is all included with Peacock Premium. So it's the paid version of Peacock that you will get all of this, not the ad-supported version. So good news, especially when you're right. If you want to binge all the holiday Hallmark movies, all the holiday, the Christmas Hallmark movies, this is the best way now to do it.
We were channel surfing the other day, and we came across a Hallmark movie called Pumpkin Everything.
Oh, no.
And we had to turn it on because it was Pumpkin Everything.
Oh, God. I can't.
And yes, it was indeed about generic businesswoman comes back to her hometown to help sick father.
Yeah, of course.
I know she's a writer. Generic mystery writer.
All right.
Comes back to hometown to help father who runs a store called Pumpkin Everything. But the father's fallen ill. And so she must run the store with new guy that she was high school friends with.
New guy?
Was high school friends with. May or may not be love interest. Definitely will be love interest because he's super good looking, but for some reason is single in this town.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Lots of stories like that, but Hallmark Channel.
Like yeah, so they're there if you want them.
Yes.
There you go. All right, let's move on to
we knew they had to land somewhere. So.
I mean, yeah, it's a good deal. It's a smart deal, just like Disney with the Doctor Who last week.
Yep.
It's a good move, and they're carving out little niches. They got the bros with the wrestling, and now they got the moms with the Hallmark.
Yes, the dads with the wrestling and the moms with the Hallmark.
I almost said that. But I was like, I don't know how many dads are wrestling guys. Maybe current dads or future dads. Anyway, let's move on to some television thoughts.
Yes.
Real mixed bag this week. Let's start with the Netflix show.
Yeah. So shows.
I forgot.
Surprise return. Big Mouth.
Yeah.
Was not expecting this to return. I thought it kind of ended on a good note the way it was, and then surprise, they brought it back.
Yeah.
I feel like this is the one thing that they haven't canceled yet because it's gone on like 6 seasons now.
I feel like it must be really cheap for them to make because they just pump these things out.
Well, it's voiced by Nick Kroll, so yes, it has to be really cheap. And like John Mulaney.
I just don't get it. It's fine.
It's fine. A lot of it this season dealing with like self-actualization, a lot of gender, like what is gender, what is sexuality, they go to like a weird asexual line.
Sure.
For the show. I think it's just them like spreading their wings and feel like, okay, what else can we talk about that we haven't already talked about to death?
I mean, I'll say the same thing that I've said about Big Mouth from the top, is that I think what it's doing conceptually is interesting. I think I like the idea of a show that's able to tackle all of these issues and talk about them while being funny and being a comedy. But who is it for? That's the problem I've had since day one. It's like, the people who should be getting this information are young people, right? Like it should be for the kids that are about the age of the characters on the show.
And the people who it's conceptually for adults should already know this information.
Yeah, that's the thing. But it's not at all for kids. And so it's this weird limbo show. Also, not to like harp on this too much, it also is the ugliest looking show on television. It's terrifying looking. And so like this combination of all of these things in one, it leads to something I never want to watch. I just don't want my eyes to look at it.
You don't want to watch it. I still find it funny.
I'm sure it's
and
funny.
Interesting.
That's the thing is when I've seen episodes of it, I've been like, oh, all right, the joke writing is pretty good on this, and it is tackling these things in a smart way. But I just don't want to look at it. I just don't want to spend time with it. It makes me feel gross. I don't know. Anyway.
Oh, you want to make you feel gross? They do a Freaky Friday thing.
Oh no.
Where the kids enter the parents' bodies.
Oh no.
And they're trying to rekindle love for the parents.
Nope.
Yep.
Let's not do that.
Yep.
Let's not go there.
Yep. They went there.
Ugh, gross.
Yep.
Not as gross though. Well,
maybe.
Gross in a different way.
Netflix buying Blockbuster.
Okay, so let's back up the train a little bit. Last year.
Okay, how far back do you want to back up this train? Because we can go all the way back
to I'm not going to go that far. Last year,
1999.
No, what I'm going to talk about is last year, Netflix released a documentary, or at least hosted a documentary. I believe it was a independent release prior that had done the film festival circuit before it was released on streaming, called The Last Blockbuster. And what that was basically and I talked about it on this podcast when I watched it. It was kind of half and half. It was both a documentary about the downfall of Blockbuster, the corporation, explaining how the advent of streaming and the complications regarding changed rules about late fees basically buried Blockbuster, the corporation, and Blockbuster started to close down around the world. Then that sort of turned into, to kind of pivoted halfway through to be more about the last Blockbuster in Bend, Oregon, to talk about the manager there and the trials and tribulations of what it is to run what it's like to run the last final Blockbuster and what that means for like local video stores, the concept of local video stores, and how they're surviving on their last legs. At the time, I said that I liked some of the things that the documentary did. I did learn some things about the corporation and why it led to its basically implosion. I did learn some things from good interview subjects from both sides of the situation. It was educational. However, it was bogged down by too many celebrity interviews that didn't need to be there, and way too much dwelling on the people in the last store that just weren't that interesting. And so it sort of came out of this lumpy documentary that didn't make me feel great about watching it on the other side, and didn't make me feel better about Blockbuster. If anything, it just complicates the feelings about Blockbuster. As much as we'd like to be nostalgic for the experience of going to Blockbuster, it's very important to remember that Blockbuster destroyed countless independent movie renting stores, like mom and pop shops, by existing. They were the Netflix of their day. They steamrolled a lot of family businesses. And so it's weird now, you have to remember that, because you can have nostalgia for what Blockbuster was, at the same time being they weren't that great ever to begin with, to be fair. All of that is to say, somebody thought it was a good idea to fictionalize all of this and pitch a sitcom based on the concept of running the last Blockbuster in the United States. Well, they've done it. It's called Blockbuster. And inexplicably, it's ended up on Netflix. Why? Why is this on Netflix?
Irony.
I guess.
Irony rearing its ugly irony head.
Anyway, so yeah, as you might imagine, if you were tasked to develop a sitcom based on this concept, you would, of course, have it about a manager who's been there forever, who is desperate to convince people that streaming is not the best way to enjoy movies and that human connection is the way to do it. And you need recommendations from experts.
Not an algorithm.
Well, that's exactly what the show is about. Randall Park plays the said manager. He does that exact speech at the end of this episode. And then the cast is filled out with a ragtag bunch of people, including, of course, teenagers that are working there for their first job, combined with people who've been there forever, combined with a person who used to be there and then came back because she's just recently gotten divorced. And that's basically your setup for this show. So it hinges on one thing. Is it funny? What did you think about Blockbuster?
So I watched the whole series. Unlike the pilot.
I just watched the pilot. What did you think overall?
So it comes from the same writer who wrote for Superstore.
A writer of Superstore. And also, I guess that this person also worked on
Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
But the NBC version of Brooklyn Nine-Nine, not the Fox version.
Correct. That's key.
Yes. Because it has the very same tropes of both of those on NBC.
Yes.
In that a lot of what the cast does and interacts with are very, I don't say stereotypical, but very...
they're working archetypes.
For sitcoms.
It's very much as you'd expect. Most of the gags, literally most of the gags, like 90% are based on person who is slightly older than person says thing. Person who is younger than person says, I don't get it, or what is that?
Mm-hmm.
That's like 90% of the jokes on this show.
You're not wrong. It's also a will they, won't they, when it's like,
of course
they will or they won't, and they will.
But they shove it all into the first episode. They could have waited. They didn't have to do it all in the first episode. They burn it all in the pilot. And I'm like, what are they doing?
Because look, we got to get all the backstory out. Yes, I'm telling you my backstory here and now at this coffee shop across the street.
I was like, what is happening? I know it's a pilot, but speaking of just watching the pilot for Severance, I realized that that's not a sitcom and they're doing different things. However, a good pilot doesn't burn everything. Yes, you have to do a certain amount of explanation, but you can leave some things to be a mystery. You could have just had the hints at some sort of romantic sparks between them. You didn't have to have it laid out, all the cards laid out on the table by the end of episode 1.
Here's because I was having that episode of the pilot. Here's everything that's going to be played out over the course of this season. It does hit everything that gets played out over the course of the season.
And played out is a good term because I feel like a lot of the jokes are really played out. It just feels like we've been here before. It feels like every other show. And to be fair, as you know, if you listen to this podcast, I'm not a fan of Superstore either. Mm-hmm. And I did get strong Superstore vibes.
Superstore vibes.
And it's just...
And that's just because of the way it was shot.
And it's... Oh, God. What's up with the lighting on this show? Okay. There's recently been a lot of talk about why Netflix shows look like they do. This is the worst offender yet. I don't get why they shot it like this. They don't even shoot it like a single cam show on network, like you'd think they would. Mm-hmm. No, instead it's shot like a Netflix movie. So the lights are turned down. When they're inside the Blockbuster, it looks like half the lights are off. And I don't know why. Blockbusters are always were super well lit. Mm-hmm. Bright halogen lights when you walk into a Blockbuster. It looks like they're in a cave. This Blockbuster looks like it's on a set because it is.
Well, it is.
When they walk outside, it looks like they're on a soundstage because they are.
Yes.
And it's the least convincing outdoor scenes I've ever seen in a sitcom.
You mean the tiny one median parking lot for 5 businesses?
And then every time there's a shot with people, they're somehow bunched in the middle. It's always a wide shot with everybody in the middle. Why? Why are you doing that? Take advantage of dynamic angles. What are you doing? When it's a shot-for-shot conversation, it's just close up, close up, close up, close up. Why? You can do other things with multicam. Okay, one thing I do have to say about interesting wrinkle to what they do here. It does not have any sort of the modern trope of in a single cam show of there are documentary cameras looking at us. Mm-hmm. Abbott Elementary does this, Parks and Rec did this, Office, etc. Mm-hmm. You can list most single cam setups are based on that premise that there are camera people that are part of the diegetic world of the show that are following them. Mm-hmm. They could have done that here. They chose not to. And I am glad that they chose not to because I think I'm over it. I think we're over it. We don't need it. But you do get a dynamic kind of feel from that. And when you take it out, you lose that dynamic feel. And so there's no There's no shaky cam. There's no like feel like there's like any movement happening in the shots. And so it does make it feel very stale, and it makes it feel very like there's not a lot of movement or a lot of things happening in this show. It's just a bunch of shots of people standing around, which is less exciting. And so, yeah, there's that. So, yeah, I guess maybe it's made me realize something about like why that is such a trope, because it does add a dynamic kind of vibe to it that you lose if you don't have it. So yeah, I just didn't want to continue with this. I would just bailed on it after the pilot. I was like, I don't need to dedicate my time to this. Does it get better?
Not a whole lot better.
Uh-huh.
It does get more interesting with the characters, but it does fall into the same kind of tropes of like a common sitcom workplace comedy.
Right.
Which that was the first problem that I had, especially in the established shot.
Yeah.
Of how, I know why you're going out of business, Blockbuster.
Yeah.
You have 5 people working on the same time.
I didn't know. That was the first thought I had as well. It's like, why are all these people working this shift right now and there's nobody in the store?
Right.
There's like one person in the store.
Yes, there's 5 people. It's your main cast.
How can you afford this?
All working on the same shift. And then even like in later episodes, they talk about like, oh yeah, like when we're on the same shift, they're like, but we always see you on the same shift.
Yeah. What is happening?
Why are all 5 of you always working at the exact same time?
They should not be able to afford all those people at the same time.
Right.
Anyways,
well, that is a plot point later in the season.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right. Well, I mean, not that interesting, honestly. Of course, that's what you do.
Yes.
The last thing I want to say about it is like, man, poor Randall Park and poor Melissa Fumero. Like, what a waste of 2 really good sitcom actors, and they're just in this.
What do you mean? Randall Park's great at being a waste of sitcom actor.
No, he's good at what he does.
I'm sorry. Did you not watch the past episode of Young Rock?
Well,
have you not seen any of Young Rock with Randall Park?
He's fine in that. But anyway,
such a waste.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Yeah, like I don't know who convinced Melissa Fumero specifically, because she could do way better than this. She is wasted in this role. Mm-hmm. Like, she's well cast, I think, in this role. I think she does. Although the age thing is confusing here. She states in the pilot that she has a daughter that's in college. How old is her character supposed to be?
I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, because if you do the math there, because that's a kind of reveal, if you could say it, is like after all the talk about the divorce, she mentions, oh yeah, I have a daughter that's in college, that's just started college. Mm-hmm. So if she has an 18-year-old daughter, I guess she could be like early 40s, I guess. But like,
well, I mean, that comes out that like she was in college at Harvard, right, and then got pregnant and had to drop out.
It's just, I don't know. It just seems like it doesn't work towards her strengths, and it's disappointing to me. But anyway, that's Blockbuster. Yeah. Don't watch it. I think that's a pretty solid not recommend. You can skip it. And then we didn't even get into the meat of the irony of why it's on Netflix. It's like, you can't have somebody giving a speech about like how Blockbuster matters and like you need like mom and pop video stores when you're on Netflix. It doesn't make sense.
I mean, it does by the end.
Okay.
Because it does the one thing that we here at the Media Boat Podcast have always advocated for, which is physical media.
Sure.
Because when things aren't available on streaming, when things happen like blackouts or like power grids good,
right, or like rights are taken away.
Yeah, they do address that in here, but that's like at the finale. It was like, we're the only place that has this.
It just imagines, and I told you this pre-pod, but yeah, it's like I just imagine this that was probably shopped to all sorts of places before it got here.
And I feel like they burned their one like good thing of like what made a Blockbuster special, and then now it's just going to be workplace comedy, which is in a Blockbuster,
which is whatever. But still, like I'm like, I can imagine why But the thing is I imagine why everybody passed, because they probably watched this thing and was like, who is this for? Like,
what are your stakes?
There's no stakes, really.
We know the Blockbuster will eventually fail, so what are your stakes here?
I mean, I guess that is the stakes. It's just that it just doesn't make for an interesting show. Like, anyway, so that's Blockbuster. That's on Netflix. Just skip it. It's fine. Yeah. You're better suited to relive your memories by talking to other people who went to Blockbusters. Like that's basically a bet. You have a better time talking to your friends about Blockbuster than watching the show.
You have a better time trying to get tickets to a Kevin Smith Q&A.
If you really want that.
to talk about a blockbuster than this.
Yeah, anyways, I can't imagine this gets a season 2. Let's move on to a season 2.
Yes, The White Lotus.
On HBO.
Season 2, series 2. Technically it's a new season, but it's also like a whole new cast because, you definitely can't bring some people back from the first one.
Oh, okay.
For those of you who haven't watched the first one, one, what's wrong with you? It won all the Emmys. Did you not watch that?
Yeah.
Two, it's back. White Lotus, season 2, with the aforementioned Aubrey Plaza.
Yes.
In one of the roles here. Jennifer Coolidge is back. She's great in it. This time it takes place not in Hawaii, but in Italy. At another very fancy White Lotus hotel.
Ooh.
Where mystery happens and people die. And we're going to find out over the course of this week of who died, who found the floating body, what happened to these 10 mysterious guests.
I don't know.
And all the hijinks that ensue.
We'll find out.
It's a rich white people porn.
Yeah, I mean, that's what the first season was too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Congratulations, Mike White.
Yes, Mike White.
You made more white people porn.
He writes what he knows, I guess.
Maybe. But
that's the vibe I got from his Emmy speech. He's like, no, it's just like, I was just writing about my friends. Making fun of my super rich friends. It's just like, fine, yeah, do it.
Yeah. I mean, one of them in the Emmys.
Yeah, one of them seems to work.
Yeah.
I'm glad that the formula still works.
Yeah, formula still works. More mystery and intrigue surrounds it. There's definitely a lot of good setup for like, oh, you guys are definitely gonna bang, or oh, you're definitely gonna have some fallout from that, or oh yeah, you're planting the seeds now.
Yeah.
So that way, we can keep that in the back of our mind as you continue to do all this stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's there.
There you go.
It's fun.
More
season 2, the White Lotus. Iron Lotus is something else.
I said more White Lotus.
Iron Lotus.
Iron Lotus.
Yeah, so it's there. I'll have my full recap at the end of the season, but it's back and it's fun.
All right, let's move on. It's time for cancellations and renewals, and oh boy, what a chopping block!
What am I no longer watching?
A lot of stuff turns out, as the CW has renewed their chopping block, as DC's Stargirl is the newest one to be canceled. That will be canceled after season 3.
Anything else left?
Actually, that's a good that you asked, because you have something that I know something that's not on this list that happened either late yesterday or this morning. Whose line is it anyway?
So that the
current version with Aisha Tyler will end after its this coming season.
Yeah, so season.
It will canceled again, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I saw that as I was trying to search for news. Like, oh, that's a new story. Oh, wait, no, maybe it's not.
I'm honestly shocked it lasted as long as it did in reboot form. Like, it's a decade almost.
It's cheap to make. And it's on the CW.
Yeah, I mean, you can't go wrong with whose line's set up. So, it was good that it lasted as long as it did. Someone give Ryan Stiles a job. What is Colin Mochrie going to do now? What are they going to do?
Yeah, go on tour.
Yeah, they should do the two of them should do a tour. Yep. That would be so funny. Anyways, let's move on to the rest of this list here. Starz is bringing back Dangerous Liaisons for a second season.
That's ahead of its first season premiere.
Okay. Netflix canceled Fate the Winx Saga after 2 seasons.
So a saga is 2 seasons now.
Yeah, that thing was weird. We watched the pilot, Christy and I, and Christy liked it. I did not. Next up, Becoming Elizabeth canceled after 1 season at Starz. The Sandman gets a second season at Netflix. HBO's Westworld, out of nowhere, canceled after the forthcoming fourth season?
No. So the season 4 finale was in August.
Oh, so after season.
Less than 3 months later,
yeah,
they're canceling it.
So no more Westworld. I think it ran its course, though.
Anyone hoping for cliffhangers or ending notes? Sorry.
It's over.
Nope.
It's over.
More HBO cuts.
But then lastly, in sad news for me personally, Tuca and Birdie canceled again. This time the Adult Swim run. So it only had seasons 2 and 3 at Adult Swim. So yeah, it's gone again. Though the series creator Lisa Hannawalt does say she is still, trying to see what she can make happen in other services. See if anybody wants to pick it up. She does have an ending in mind if she gets to make it. So yeah, for now though, we might not see it, which is sad.
Why not just do the Futurama thing where you make every season a season ending thing?
Yeah, I know. I guess. I mean, that's the thing about Tuca and Birdie is that they do a good job of ending those seasons, each of them feeling like there's some finality there. And the third season's definitely similar to that. So yeah, I can understand this. Like, but at the same time, this is just yet another of Zaslav's cuts.
Yep.
Their animations is just getting gutted, and so this is just further proof of that.
I mean, that and Westworld.
Yeah. So bad news, honestly, just bad news.
The axe keeps coming.
We go into deaths next. John McVay, age 91, football coach of the New York Football Giants and executive for the San Francisco 49ers.
He was responsible for bringing Joe Montana to the 49ers and helping them win 5 Super Bowls.
So there you go. Definitely made his mark on football.
And continues to make his mark as his grandson,
yes,
Sean McVay,
yes,
won the Super Bowl earlier this year.
There you go. So yes, it's in the family, and the legacy will continue. Next up, Takeoff. That would be 1/3 of the former rap group Migos, age 28, was shot this week. That was probably the biggest story in music this week, but I did not include it because I knew we were going to talk about it in deaths. Yeah, this is just a rough one. Just very, very young. Obviously wrote a lot of Migos hits, including Versace, the big hit, and Motorsport, among others. And yeah, had recently actually left Migos. Migos had kind of turned into a duo following Takeoff's departure. It was just Quavo and Offset. Offset, by the way, married to Cardi B. And in case you're trying to keep track of which Migos is which. Well, so yeah, it's definitely a sad one. Definitely further proof that and over a gambling game. I think it was like a dice game or something that he was.
Was it at a bowling alley?
At a bowling alley or something. Yeah, it's just this sucks. This stuff sucks. This stuff just sucks so much. And I feel like it's happening more and more and more in rap circles than it used to. Like somebody pointed out on Twitter, it's like in the 90s, it was a big deal when Biggie got shot, when Tupac got shot. It was like, it was news, and because it wasn't as common. Now, I feel like this happens every couple months. We see yet another person in the hip hop community or the rap community, getting shot for no reason. It's just like, and there's a bigger conversation to be had about this. It's like, what is it about the accessibility of guns and who has the ability to just have a gun on them? What does it mean that it's I don't know, just so common now? It's just disappointing, and something needs to happen. Something needs to change. These young men are dying, and these talented songwriters and performers. It's just bleak. I don't know what to do. I don't know what needs to be done. I don't know.
You know, I mean, you mentioned this, that there's just one common denominator, and it's
the guns.
It's the guns.
It's just yeah. Anyways, hey, everybody should vote this week if you haven't already.
Vote.
Tuesday is another big voting day. So yes, stay here in California. That's our voting day. Please just take action when you can.
I think it's everywhere voting day.
Okay, but yeah, take action when you can. This is one of the opportunities where you can't, so you should. All right, next up, Ray Guy, a Hall of Fame football player, played for the Oakland/Los Angeles Raiders. Super Bowl champion, back with Super Bowl 11, 15, and 18. Ray Guy Award, named after him, is given to the best collegiate punter now.
He was the first punter ever selected in the first round by the Raiders.
Okay.
Well, not just but in the NFL draft, he was the first punter ever selected.
Wow.
I think his average is 48 yards per punt. Always put in the back. Super Bowl champion, 3-time Super Bowl champion. And yeah, best collegiate punter award is named after him as of 2000.
That's very cool. So yeah, you don't have an age for a Ray Guy.
Because he's timeless.
I guess so. That's fair.
I think he's 78.
That's fair. All right, let's move on into our last segment here today, which is, of course, the movie segment. And we start with the weekend box office numbers. Black Adam holds over this week with another $27 million. That moves the needle to 110 domestic.
Is it good? Question mark.
I've heard literally no one talk about this movie. So.
No, I mean, it's $110 million good.
For 2022, it's all right. It's probably somewhere in the middle of the pack, I think.
Right.
But it's doing okay. Number 2, Ticket to Paradise with $9.8 million this week, moving to $33 million domestic. Pray for the Devil, your number 3, debuting this week at number 3, $7.1 million. Smile with another $5.4 million. That's a 92. That's actually pretty good for that kind of budget.
Yep, and not going to make 100 though, because we're
Yeah.
going to November.
And Halloween Ends at number 5, rounding out your list here with another $4 million. That's at around 60. Upcoming this week is it's time. Everything got out of the way.
There's only one movie coming out.
And it is, of course, the biggest movie of the year. Take that, Avatar. Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Of course, the sequel to Black Panther, released in honor of the late Chadwick Boseman. We know very little about this movie and what's going to happen in it. We've seen a couple of trailers, but they haven't said a whole lot.
Namor is going to be in it.
Yeah.
It's going to be Namor versus Black Panther.
It's
Atlantis
question mark
versus
though,
Wakanda.
right? Like, who is Black Panther at this point?
Who
We
is
don't
the new
even know
Black
that.
No,
No one knows, and that's the wonderful thing about this movie is that they've somehow been able to keep a lot under wraps.
Even toy leaks have not revealed who the new Black Panther is.
So yeah, looking forward to this one. I loved the first one, of course. It's my favorite of the Marvel films. So yeah, looking forward to see what they do with the sequel. Mm-hmm. And yeah, like you said, everything else got out of the way. So nothing else.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to see this on Thursday night preview.
Yeah.
So it may be talking about it the following week.
Yeah, maybe this weekend,
Because
coming weekend.
Tickets got snatched up real quick.
I bet a lot of people are probably excited. I bet this sets probably the record for the year. The big question mark is does this do better than Avatar? I think it could. We'll see.
Avatar doesn't have a whole lot of runway coming out.
Avatar's had a lot of runway, and that's, I think, to its detriment, is what I think.
No, I mean, like, it's coming out in November.
Yeah.
In December.
Yeah, I know.
So it's not a whole lot for this year.
Right. So we'll see.
It's going to have it for later,
maybe.
In 2023.
Yeah, maybe. Anyway, moving on to movie news. TOHO, the Japanese studio, is in the news this week, celebrating Godzilla Day. To celebrate the day, they announced a new film will be coming next year. Award-winning Japanese filmmaker Takashi Yamazaki, responsible for Always Sunset on 3rd Street, has been announced to be pulling triple duty on the untitled Godzilla film. He will be directing, writing, and serving as a visual effects supervisor. This new film will be the first live-action Godzilla movie from TOHO since 2016's Shin Godzilla. Additionally, when Shin Godzilla came out, it was the first live-action film since 2004's Godzilla Final Wars. While TOHO has released animated movies of Godzilla since, and there are recent American films from Legendary Pictures, to some fans, there's nothing quite like a live-action TOHO Godzilla. So it's almost like
will be live-action TOHO,
the continuation of the official Godzilla series, you could say. So yeah,
not the MonsterVerse Godzilla.
I've heard very good things about Shin Godzilla. That was the one that was by the Evangelion guy.
Yes.
So if it's anything like that, I think fans will be very excited for a new Godzilla film. Godzilla is still a threat.
Yep, coming out exactly 1 year from now, first weekend of November 2023.
Yeah. Exciting.
So look forward to more Godzilla.
Woo. Moving on, our second story here. MGM. Yes, that MGM.
Yes, Amazon's MGM.
Is in the news this week, but for a weird-ass reason. MGM has launched an AI-powered tool that allows marketers and researchers to conveniently search through film and TV clips from the studio's extensive library. At launch, the MGM Clip Locator, that's pretty on the nose, that's called what you should call that thing, allows users to locate specific lines of dialogue across the MGM library and filter results by criteria like actor and project title. Man, we could have used the MGM Clip Locator when playing Immortality. That would have been really convenient.
You mean, or Her Story?
Or any of them, really. Future updates to the service are expected to include additional search capabilities for specific objects, and actions that appear across the MGM catalog. Use cases could include a researcher looking for every single clip of James Bond saying shaken, not stirred for a project, or an advertiser wanting to edit together clips of stars saying the phrase hello across multiple films for a brand campaign. After locating the clips they are interested in using, the user can then add the assets to an online shopping cart and proceed to submit a licensing request with MGM. The tool is expected to significantly cut down the amount of time it may take for an advertiser or researcher to locate and license clips from the MGM library. This does seem like the thing that Sam Barlow has been trying to hit at in his video games. And yeah, it's a neat idea. I wonder if somebody played Immortality and was like, this is a good idea. We should do this. And figured out they could do it for an actual film studio. Yeah, this seems cool. And I think all the studios should do this. Like, I think they should be good guys over at Amazon and just let everybody use this technology and like everybody have their own studio version of this.
I'm sorry, I heard two different conflicting things.
I know, good guys in Amazon.
Yes.
I realized that when I said it. I was just like, that's never going to happen. You're right. They're never going to make this proprietary, but like, or not proprietary, I should say. But yeah, it is what it is, I guess. But like, it's a neat idea, and it should. And I think the use case is smart, and I think that something like this would be very helpful.
I think it allows them to immediately access the clips without them calling up MGM and saying, "Hey,
right,
I'm looking to do this. Can you find me those clips?"
It saves an intern having to do this for hours every day,
yes.
Which is better.
Also, probably how it got formed.
Yeah, maybe interns like, why don't we do this smarter?
Yes,
and they did it. Yeah, neat.
Yeah, easy library, MGM library. It's a huge library.
Yeah,
and yeah, I mean, any way to make that easier and just for all libraries to be made easier, it'd be great.
It's a good idea.
Yep.
Also a good idea, sending us fan questions at mediaboatpodcast@gmail.com. We have another fan question this week from our favorite fan.
Yes.
Hey, he asks, howdy ho, Media Boat. Mariners? Boatsmen? Seamen? What do you call ourselves? Our fans of the boat of media. Anyways, I'm reading this as written.
Yes, this is not you exaggerating. This is literally how it was written.
Video game question. What gimmick in a video game did you super appreciate and thought was clever? Maybe it was Psycho Mantis reading your memory card, or maybe Eternal Darkness pretending to erase your save. Maybe it was Monster Rancher turning your music CDs into monsters. Look forward to you answers. Sailors? Yeah, I don't know what we call our fans. I don't know. Or us.
Well,
I like boatsmen.
I'm Mike, and he's Matt.
We did that already. No, I like boatsmen. That's kind of fun.
The boatsmen?
The media boatsmen. That's all right. I don't hate it.
What about the boat's women and the boat's children?
All the boats people are welcome to listen to the Media Boat podcast.
That's why I like sailors.
Sailors? I don't like
It's
sailors.
a generic term.
I don't like sailors. It's like we're not sailing. Media boats don't sail, really. Just got putts around. I view ours as a motorboat more than I do a sailboat.
Well, are we a motorboat then? Can we zoom through all the news?
We zoom through all the news. Yeah, we're more like a motorboat. I don't know. We'll think about it. How about that? Right. Anyways, as for the question,
as for the gimmick,
do you have any good video game gimmicks on your mind?
I mean, the one gimmick that comes to my mind is Pokemon, where you could Pokemon Gold and Silver, Heart Gold and Soul Silver specifically, where you could take your Pokemon and do the Pokewalker.
Yes, the classic Pokewalker.
Yes,
that was a good
one. You get pedometer and walk around with it so it gains levels as you're walking around.
That one's good.
That's a good gimmick.
While on Pokemon, so another one of my favorite gimmicks in Pokemon history was speaking of Blockbuster, the Blockbuster sticker kiosks for Pokemon Snap.
Yes.
And you could take your cartridge in and print out pictures you had taken in the video game. That was awesome. And I loved that. I only got to do it once. My parents were like, no, we're not wasting your money, like $5 on this. Because I guess it costs like $5 per. Mm-hmm. And so I only was able to do it once, but I treasured those stickers. I still have them somewhere around. Anyway, I'm trying to think of other things.
There was not necessarily a video game, but I remember a game. I don't know if it was specifically like a game, but like a toy game called Scanners.
I remember Scanners. It was like the UPC codes.
Yeah, scan the barcode.
Similar to Monster Rancher, except with codes. Yeah. No, that was always this fun idea. Whenever you have something you can interact with in real life for a video game, it's always a neat idea. It reminds me of a failed gimmick of Nintendo's. Does anybody but me remember the Game Boy Advance e-reader?
I feel like I've heard of this.
So it was a peripheral that you bought that scanned cards, like physical cards that you could buy in booster packs, like next to the Pokemon cards in the store. So you'd buy these things and they would have codes on the edges of them. And they came in two varieties. There are ones that worked with specific games. Like there were ones for the Animal Crossing game for the DS or DS. No. Oh yeah, this was DS. Sorry, not game. Wait.
Was it the DS or the Game Boy Advanced?
Oh God.
Because there was a crossover there at some point.
Oh God, I don't remember. You know what? They were Game Boy. It was the Game Boy Advance because it worked with the GameCube version of Animal Crossing.
Is that what you're thinking of?
That's what I'm thinking of. You could get items for Animal Crossing in the GameCube by putting them in the irrigator on the Game Boy Advance and then using the connection cable to the GameCube to upload it. It was way too complicated for what it was. But then there was the second kind of games where like actual games you could play, like NES games that you could play on the Game Boy by scanning these cards. So you'd buy, for example, the pack for Excite Bike, and then you give you 5 cards, and you have to scan one after another, all 5 cards, and then you'd have Excite Bike on your Game Boy Advance. But every time you'd play it, you'd have to do that again because the thing with the Game Boy Advance is it didn't have any onboard memory,
right?
So it wouldn't remember what you did, so you'd have to do it every time you wanted to play Excite Bike. It wasn't practical. It wasn't good. But it was weird, and it was a weird gimmick, and I loved it.
Right. Outside of like mobile or like portable gaming, I think one of my favorite console gaming gimmicks is whenever there's a sequel, and you can not only just port over your save, but port over like any like weapons or upgrades that you have.
I love that
because it could read your memory card, like, oh, like you have a save from here.
Yeah.
Why, yes, we'll give you a discount because you're a quote returning customer because you have a previously saved game.
Yeah, even if it's like, oh, it only unlocks this one thing, it's still kind of cool.
Yeah.
Like, I really like in Metroid Prime for the GameCube. Speaking of the Game Boy Advance connection cable, if you played both Metroid Prime and Metroid Fusion, you'd unlock the Fusion suit in Metroid Prime if you connected it, and also you'd be able to play Metroid, the original NES game, on your GameCube if you connected the 2 games. It was neat. It was neat stuff. And yeah, like I love those little fun gimmicks in games.
Like sometimes like a skin or cosmetic, or like you got a weapon from the previous game that's not currently available, or you have to pay like an extra fee for it, or if you have a saved cartridge or a saved memory stick for it, you could just like get it because you previously owned it. Yeah.
And honestly, I think that we're going to probably see fewer and fewer of these kinds of things as games go on.
Well, no, they become was it?
No, they become like, those codes you get on a bag of Doritos that for Fortnite that like you can put in a thing for Fortnite and get a skin.
No.
That's what it is now.
They become pre-order bonuses. That's what I'm thinking of.
Also, pre-order bonuses have killed this.
Yes.
In a way. And yeah, I mean, there's also in-game stuff like you mentioned with kind of like tricking you into thinking your game is breaking in internal darkness. I feel like there's less of that now too, because I feel like, I don't know, maybe we're expecting it more since we've had those experiences. If anybody's going to do it again, it's probably going to be whatever this new horror game that Hideo Kojima is working on. I mean, he brought us the Psycho Mantis thing, so he's a weirdo. He's gonna go do stuff.
There is like certain horror games that do that. This currently, like Doki Doki Literature Club, where if you beat the game and you reload your save, like some of the artwork is different. You can play the game differently. Speaking of Doki Doki Literature Club, where you have to go actually into the game files itself.
Yeah, that was a weird one because it does this meta kind of stuff. Yeah, I guess that's a good point. There are some games that are doing that meta kind of layer, like that. Immortality, to a certain extent, does that. Kind of like makes you think like, wait a minute, is this the game or not? Kind of stuff. A recent favorite of a lot of video game podcasts I listened to last year. That card game. What was that? What's that called?
It's
not Inception. It's
not Insidious. Inscription.
Inscription. Yes, did a lot of that where it was like kind of this meta kind of thing. That. Less of a gimmick, I guess, it's because it's like more built into the game. But yeah, I think it exists, but it's just a different animal than it used to be.
Does camera-based games count as gimmicks now?
I mean, it's
like with the iToy and the Kinect.
I mean, I think that those things died for a reason.
But they were gimmicks.
They were needed at the time. I mean, the entire concept of the Wii, you could say, was a gimmick, even though a lot of people did enjoy that. And it lives on through Switch Sports, which I still have to admit, embarrassingly, I spent $60 on it. I've only played it once.
On Switch Sports?
Yeah, only played it once.
You asked me why I bought it.
I can't believe I bought it.
You asked me why I didn't buy it.
This is the second time I've done this in the last 3 years. I bought Last of Us Part 2 too and played it once.
Yeah?
No, I didn't play it once. I played it for a week and a half.
You didn't beat it, yeah.
And I did not play beyond that. I'm like, I can't stop spending $60 on games that I don't play.
That's what Game Pass is for. That's what GameFly is for.
I know. Anyway, so thank you for the question. That was a good question. We got a lot out of that one.
Yeah.
Continue to send us questions or other people. Hey, feel free. if you would like to ask us questions, you can, like I said, email us at mediaboatpodcast@gmail.com.
And that'll do it for us here.
Yes, that'll wrap up the show for this week. Thank you for joining us. We'll be back next week for, like we said at the top of the show, a blowout of God of War Ragnarok. So get ready for every thought you have about God of War next
I'm
week.
going to see how far I can get in those 2 days. I might even take a day off and just say, you know what, I'm going to try to get through this as much as I can.
There's a couple games I want to get into. I want to try out the 1.0 now that it's out of Vampire Survivors. I want to jump back into that. I need to still finish Neon White. I do want to try out some other games I've had my eyeballs on. I'm hoping to do that before next week, but we'll see. So yeah, stay tuned for next week. We'll be back. In the meantime, if you want to watch our videos or watch us live, you can do so on our YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube, search Media Boat Podcast. Like, subscribe, comment, click the bell for notifications. If you would like to listen to us in audio form, you can do that on podcast services such as Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Amazon, anywhere you listen to podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts, search Media Boat Podcast and you'll find our spot. If you want to see us on social media, we're on, for now, Twitter at Media Boat Cast. We're on Facebook, search Media Boat Podcast there. And yeah, we already set our email address, so we're good in that department. Thank you for joining us. We'll be back next week. So see you then.
Yep. Back with more news, more thoughts, more Ragnarok.
All righty.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.
And we're done. Clear it.
Bye.
Bye.